Hey, what's up, guys? So today, this course, maybe mini course because it could be longer, is all about flirting. It's an introduction to flirting. This is a skill which is very important for cold approach, for guys who are approaching to learn, and it's also one that's highly neglected. A lot of people do not do due diligence in learning the nuts and bolts of this. And because of it, their game suffers. Their interactions don't go as well as they could go. So we're gonna run through basics here, right? We're gonna run through broad brushstrokes. There's much more to cover later on, and we'll get to that in next episodes. But as an overview for understanding what flirting is, how it works, how to implement it, I will use a reference that I've written. I've written an article about flirting, best flirt course ever, obviously, pumping it up, but in essence, bringing the most important ideas in flirting to life. So, what is flirting? Let's ask that question overall. In your mind, my mind, what is flirting? What do people think as flirting? Flirting is, whether you have an answer or not, what flirting is the hint of interest. What's interest without the guarantee of wanting something? It's possibility, romantic, sexual chemistry, possibility without promise. So it's not just I like, it's I may like, but I may not like. It's I may be interested, but I may not be interested. Or I may be interested now, but something might remove my interest in speaking about talking to a particular girl, etc. So flirting is both of those things. I think the quote that I have here, you all can see the screen. I think the quote that I have here is pretty apt. It describes it very well, right? A balance sheet is very much, and this is a financial quote. A balance sheet is very much like a bikini. What it reveals is interesting. What it conceals is vital. So you are revealing some, but you're concealing some. You're giving praise, but then taking away a little bit on the back end. You're showing her that you like one side of her, but that you don't like this particular possible side of her. Or you like one trait that she has, but this trait could lead to something bad on this end, right? So you're linking both of those. There is the like, but potential pulling back at the same exact time. So as I've written here, right, flirting is the possibility of a romantic sexual spark devoid of guarantee, whetting of the appetite, sexual appetite, without mentioning anything of fulfillment, teasing what could happen, but not what will. That's very, 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 very important, right? Possibility without promise, right? Sexual, romantic possibility without promise of anything 100% going there. So just to direct your mind in that way. You have the definition thinking about it because a lot of guys in the community obviously do not conduct approaches that way. Excuse me. They don't conduct approaches that way. They conduct approaches in terms of I like you, right? Whether it's a direct open or whether it's how they compliment a girl. And complimenting is important, right? But it's very much I like you. cards on the table, hands out, open. I don't know if you can see, right? Very much, I like you. Do you like me? Very complete. But that's not what flirting is. There needs to be a little bit of like with a little bit of maybe I'm not so sure. Maybe there's a little bit of dislike. Maybe I'm pulling back. It needs to be both of those. So, like I write here, you're giving some information, some interest, some validation without giving it all away, right? A little bit. So there's that uncertainty. That uncertainty is crucial. It's key, and that's what makes it flirting. A compliment is not flirting. In essence, it's part of it. It's part of the equation, but it does not fulfill the whole of what flirting is. We'd say flirt. A flirting line is a compliment plus a tease. So you're adding both of those together to create a scenario, to create a situation, the energy in the interaction where she knows you like her a little bit, or this trait, or something she said, or something she did. But then again, maybe not so much. Maybe she's not too sure how much you do like that. She's not too sure if you would like that in the long term, right? Flirt, compliment plus tease. You need both parts. It's absolutely necessary, imperative. You gotta pair them together. One without the other is not really flirting. Now, you could tease without complimenting. That is possible. But to have the max power, you link both and you put them together. So, like I said before, a lot of guys in cold approach, they tend to, especially when they reach a certain level, the highest level that most people reach, the only thing they do is spill the beans. I like you, whether it's direct opener, whether it's what they say in conversation. I like you. Do you like me? And the only thing the guy communicates to the girl is, I like you. I like you. I like you. I like you. Right? In various different ways. He doesn't just say that specifically, but in various different ways. I like you. I like you. I like you. Everything he's saying is, in essence, bringing that to the forefront. I like you. Right? So, excuse the noise. Got a cat's running around. So, but in essence, all he's saying is, I like you. He's never saying, I'm not too sure about you. Teasing her, poking her a little bit, right? Not at her expense, but in a way that's fun, in a way that's playful, or pulling away from her a little bit, or not showing that he has a little bit of hesitation about her. He's unsure about her. Usually, guys don't do that, especially with girls they don't like. So, with girls they like, excuse me, with girls they don't like, guys actually have a much easier time doing that. It comes natural for some reason to tease girls that you're not that into. To pull away from them, to give them space to chase. It's way easier to do that then. But it's important. It's important to stop spilling the beans, as I say, right? As is written here. I like you, I like you, I like you. No, that's not the best way to do that. It's glimpses of interest, glimpses of you could be that girl for me. Glimpses of I could be interested in you. Glimpses of I see something good in you, but then I see this also, and I'm not too sure about you now. Right? So You have to meld that. Yeah, and whatever you want to call it, mixed signals, push pull, flirting. It all means the same thing. They're all the same thing. There is no difference between those. So just to further clarify, right? There is no difference. You don't have to be confused about it. Mixed signals, push, pull, flirting, no difference. They're all essentially the same. All the same thing. And I have some lines here, right, that you can see. Honestly, you're so cute. A little too cute. Kind of like a lost puppy, right? So you're starting off with a compliment. You're moving towards more of a playful poke, a playful tease. And that's what you want to say. That's what when you do compliment, you want to add things like that into it, right? So ambiguous. I have written here ambiguous compliments or ambiguous statements that you might not know. She might not know where she stands, right? Maybe she can play, she can recite the every number in the world, right? She's one of those math whizzes. And you say, well, I really do like smart brainiac girls, but you do have a life, right? You don't just talk to walls and space out all the time, right? You know how to socialize and be around people, right? So in one instance, just as an example, right? You're taking something, you're mentioning something you like while mentioning what that trait that you like could lead to on a negative end, right? Because it could lead to something negative, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So it makes it more ambiguous. It's ambiguity, it's intrigue, it's uncertainty, like I said before, right? Telling a girl that she has an interesting look or an interesting style, especially early set, is a lot better and a lot easier hooking than telling a girl, "Oh my God, you're the most you look so sexy, or you look so beautiful, you look so this," right? Well, that's giving a lot away. But you want to hold some interesting look, interesting style. You said something that was interesting, right? She's into XYZ. That's interesting, right? Ambiguity. Add ambiguity in. So these examples, she does a 360 roundhouse kick. That's the weirdest, sexiest thing I've ever seen. You're mixing two things that don't necessarily go together. They kind of clash, but which is part and parcel of what mixed signals is. It's right here, this statement in the middle of the page. It's easy to get confused about mixed signals. However, think of it this way: everything she says, is, or does has a positive and negative connotation. Your job is to playfully point it out. Your job is to mention it. Your job is to see that and use that. So everything, it doesn't matter what she does, right? If she's a heavy weed smoker, there's a positive and negative to that. If she's a lawyer and makes a ton of money, there's a positive and negative to that. If she is a single mother, there's a positive and a negative to that. If she is never been in a relationship before, there's a positive and a negative to that. If she is a gym girl, right? She spends a lot of time working out. There's a positive and a negative to that. If she is someone who eats junk food all day, there's a positive and a negative to that. Everything, everything. So your job is to see that. Once you can see that, you can mention it. But you have to train your mind to see that. You have to train your mind to see the duality in those things, to see the opposites in those things. There's a positive side here, there's a negative side there. This trait, this one trait, if she's a bookworm, like so let's say she graduated magna cum laude at university. There's a positive and negative to that. And she's a bookworm, she studies, she builds her mind up, but she's quite possibly socially awkward and a social recluse and nobody likes her. Or something like, right? For you to be able to see that contradiction will help you to point it out. The one thing as an exercise you should do is think about traits that you like in positive and negative terms. See both, mention both, point both out to yourself so that you can understand they both exist. It's one trait that contains both of these things. In mentioning before, the previous example that I gave, praise the qualities you would like her to embody while teasing takeaways on and getting her to qualify that she doesn't subscribe to negative extremes of that same trait. So, like, if she's a gym girl, right? She takes care of herself and she values her body. But some gym girls just value their body because they want to put it up on Instagram and they want to put it on social media. And so it seems self-love, but it's really not self-love. You can mention that, right? You can bring that to the forefront. Or if she is an entrepreneur, she makes a good amount of money, you can say it's it's good that she knows how to focus and drive and take her dreams and bring it to fruition. But at the same time, does she feel trapped by hobnobbing with people who might be good for business and might advance her business wise, but she really doesn't click with, she really doesn't connect with. She might not even share anything besides business, right? So, because a lot of rich people sometimes they will do things to maintain wealth and to build status in the community, but they're not really with these people, right? They don't really click on a heart level. So something like that, right? So you want to train yourself to see that duality. And it doesn't matter what it is, right? Proper flirting also sets frames that help you instead of hurting you, frames that aid you in succeeding with the girl. It sets the right context, the perfect context. The perfect context is, in terms of frames, any frame where she's chasing, she's looking for validation, she's looking to lock you down, she's looking to make you boyfriend or husband because you're so great. Anything in that vein. She's looking to impress you. She's looking to meet a guy just like you. Anything in that vein is the right frame to set. So you want to, this is something that needs actual conscious thought, right? You need to sit out and write a list of best frames to set within your material. And you write that out. I can set a frame that she's trying to impress me, that she's trying to take me home early, that she's trying to desperately to show that she's the right girl for me, that she's trying to she's trying to force me into a situation or situationship because she knows I'm that type of guy. And she sees it, right? She feels that I'm her dream guy, perfect guy. So any frames that fall into any of those categories, that's what you want to focus on. And so in in closing, we have if you are ever in doubt as for what to frame something as, look back at frames that women have set on you and use them as inspiration. Because a lot of women do set frames on guys. He's the horny guy, he's the guy chasing me, he's the guy who is kind of cute, but I'm not too sure about. He's the guy who is a little bit there, but he really can't get me, right? All of these things. Women are masters at setting frames. Women are masters at mixed signals. Anything that a woman has done to you or on you or anybody you know, feel free to use it because they do quite a good job at it, right? So you can repurpose it, you can tweak this, you can twist it around and be able to use what she said to you on another girl. So great, great, great thing. Look back at previous interactions that you've had, break them down, see if you can use it. There's definitely fodder to use. Definitely. So like this example over here, right? Girl asks where I live. Honestly, I'm flattered you want to get right down to business, but how about I like to meet girls here first, right? Start off very very normal. How about we just get to know each other here first, right? Usually it's guys who are rushing, and girls have to say something like that to guys. But in this frame, you're flipping it. You're flipping the script. So anything, anything that women usually say to men, feel free to turn it on them. Anything that's been said to you, feel free to tweak it and use it for your benefit. Or someone, anything that's been said to someone that you know, right? And you've heard about it, tweak it and use it because it's gold. And you'll learn from that. You'll learn the process of setting frames and working off mixed signals. So the two things to remember: everything she is, says, or does has a positive and negative connotation, right? So you want to be able to find that and point that out all the time. You want to train your brain to be able to point that out no matter what. It doesn't matter what she says. If she's the richest person in the world, you want to be able to train yourself to find the positive and negative about it. Mention it. You want to be able to do that. So that's a homework exercise. You sit and you think about it and flesh that out, right? Get a whole list of traits that you like about girls that you can, let's say 5 traits that you write down you like about girls. Find the positive, obviously, because you like it, and find the negative in it. Find the negative in it. Write it down. That way you know it, you have it, you're training your brain to see it, and you could actually get her to qualify that she doesn't adhere to or do that thing that you don't like, right? The negative part of that positive trait. And for frames, remember frames, anything where she's trying to impress you. She's trying to lock you down early. She's trying to show you desperately that she's the right girl for you. She is trying to take you home ASAP. She is trying to show you to her family and friends because you're such a good catch. Any of those type of frames, that is the frame to set. Those are the frames that you should be setting. And the frame is just the meaning of what's going on. The frame is the meaning of what's going on. Whatever she is, says, or does means this. She says X. That means she is trying to lock me down in a relationship because I'm that type of guy. She says she does this. That means that she is intimidated by me because I'm a better guy than she's used to meeting. That right? So things like that. So think about those. Write down frame ideas, 5 frame ideas, and structure statements where anything a girl says or does fits into those. right? So like this example here, which is probably a really good example. A girl asks you where you live, and you're assuming that she's trying to take you home already. She's trying to get down to it because she sees you're that valuable of a guy, right? Well, she could ask where you work, and I could say, well, you're not going to show up at my job pretending to be my wife, right? Because it's best for us to go slowly. I know you're excited, but slow and steady wins the race, right? And in that case, she's she's asking where I work because she wants to jump in already and present herself in my life. So things like that. There's a lot of fun you can have with this. So try those two activities and look back at frames that have been set on you. See if you can use them. Now, I am sure that you'll have a lot of fun doing this. I'm sure that you'll learn a lot. Stick around. We have a lot more flirting to talk about. So we'll break down in even more detail. We'll get some more examples. But for now, we'll start with that, right? These two exercises. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a lot. And pass it to somebody who will also learn a lot. So take care.